What I want to talk about today is the Warhammer community article that seems to be the talk of the community right now. A lot of the current AOS range is going into Legends, being discontinued, whatever you want to call it, whatever spin Games Workshop is putting on it. I have a lot of criticisms of their business practices, what they do with their prices, but also I understand that they're a business. And at the end of the day, that's my stance on this one. It comes down to the fact that it is a business. So, as you can see, if you've not seen the article, let's have a quick look at it. So it's quite an extensive article, and it goes through all of the things that are going to be changing in terms of what's leaving in 4th edition and what might be appearing. It gives us a good idea of what's going on at large. Now, unsurprisingly, a lot of the Stormcast models are getting retired and possibly replaced with new sculpts. Now, as a 40k fan, for the most part, I'm very early in my stages of getting into Age of Sigmar. I'm starting to learn the lore and such, but looking at the range of Stormcast is just insane, even by Space Marines standards. I mean, there is a lot leaving. This is almost an entire range in itself that they're showing there. So, I can't really grumble too much from that. I think a lot of what people are complaining about is this really affects tournament players, doesn't it? So if you are playing the game competitively and you've invested money in this army or any of these armies with stuff leaving, then you might be a little bit butthurt. But again, as Games Workshop rightly state in the article, they can't produce everything and support everything forever. And it feels like the community is, in my opinion at least, massively overreacting. When you look at this in context of pretty much anything else out there, it's pretty much standard operating procedure for most businesses. They don't support their ranges forever. Everything is transient. And, well, that's just the nature of capitalism, unfortunately. They are a business at the end of the day. So I'm not going to begrudge them doing this. I think it makes sense from a business perspective, but I can understand how fans would be upset. And this is where I'm struggling to reconcile the business side of things with the hobbyist side of things. I can see it from both perspectives. For me, I don't play in tournaments really, so it doesn't affect me to the point where I don't want to say livelihood, but my enjoyment of the hobby isn't impacted by me not being able to take certain units to a tournament. I suppose what I'm getting at is I have fun with the game in interacting with it in a multitude of different ways, and one of those is I will casually play the game with friends. And I think Games Workshop have been fairly transparent for the most part in saying, well, you can still play with these models via Legends, or there is literally nothing stopping anybody from playing with whatever rule set they want, with whatever models that they want. You own them, you have them. I don't see how this is any different from video games. I played Street Fighter 5 for 7 years, and then Street Fighter 6 came out, and it was like, oh my god, I can't play Street Fighter 5 anymore. Well, yeah, I can still play Street Fighter 5, but I can play Street Fighter 6, and that's what the competitive standard is now. So, if I'm playing in tournaments in that space, and I've got to play Street Fighter 6. Yeah, there's still Street Fighter 5 tournaments, but they might not be part of the Capcom Pro Tour. That's just how it is. That's how all sport works. That's how all competitiveness works. You see teams change. You see rules change in wide games, but it doesn't stop you playing your version of the game, does it? You don't see kids playing by Premiership football rules when they're playing on a park. They throw some tops down to make goalposts, and they play unbalanced games with no referee or whatever. It's the same thing here, but we just seem to be really complaining about it. The fact that a business is making money and they've got to carry on making money, so they introduce a new product. Should we start petitioning for Ford or whoever to stop releasing new cars because there's nothing wrong with our current cars and we don't need to upgrade, and we don't want to upgrade because we've already bought that one car? It seems really small, not small-minded. It feels like we're complaining about nothing. It's like, what are we complaining about? At the end of the day, Games Workshop, even though they're a big company in our space, they're not a huge company. You know, they have finite resources in what they can produce and the stock they can store. And at the end of the day, if we want our friendly local game stores to carry on stocking product, you know, we don't want them to have shelf warmers for years out there, do we? We want them to have an influx of new products that we can go and buy. And if we've no reason to go and buy them, then those businesses are going to go out of business. This is just the nature of supply and demand. Games Workshop have to continue to make a demand, and that is done through new additions, from retiring models, introducing new models. I've heard a lot of folks saying, I mean, these Skaven here are a great example, aren't they? You know, they've been around for like, what, 15, 16 years, perhaps even longer. The Stormcast have been around for almost a decade that they're replacing. And people saying like, well, they've only been around for 10 years. You should still be able to play with them. You can still play with them. You can play your own games. You can't play in the tournament. They've been quite transparent about that. But that is what it is. The models aren't going to disappear once they stop selling these. Crack on playing whatever edition of it, whatever rule set version of it is with your friends, and have fun with it. Just have fun. Please do stop causing controversy for literally, in what I'm seeing as no reason. We want new products, we want new iterations of the game, but this isn't like all of the other things where we can't, you know, they're not going to turn the servers off, are they? What they're going to do, come to your house and like take all of your old rule books? No, it's a daft, overreactionary way of looking at this. And Games Workshop do get a lot of flack from the community in large, and there's a lot of creators out there that do hate on them. And yes, I can see why it's an easy target, but sometimes they need standing up for, perhaps. And you know, I don't get any free stuff from Games Workshop. I begrudgingly pay for bits and pieces that I want, but I tend to get it from my FLGS. I won't pay directly from Games Workshop anymore, even my local Games Workshop. So I'm not, you know, on their payroll or influencer program or anything like that. But this is nuts. I actually think they're doing a really good job in saying that they're going to support and carry on supporting these things. So, you know, from my perspective, I don't have a problem with it. Now, they're getting rid of some of the war bands as well from Warcry, from the first release, run, edition, whatever you want to call it. And again, I don't think that's a problem. You know, it's this sliding window of product, isn't it? They've iterated on the base rule set. Warcry's been around for like, what, five years now, perhaps? Something like that. So, you know, if we're not seeing people playing with these boxed war bands anymore, then let's get rid of them. The law's moved on, the narrative's moved on, so these have been kind of consolidated into the Dark Oath Savages and the Slaves to Darkness ranges. I think this is a good model of releasing interesting, fun models that if you want them, you can pick them up. Great. Perhaps they'll do limited runs of them in the future when they can produce them in a smaller quantity, like they do the made-to-order stuff. Again, I don't have a problem with this. I think with these warbands that they've got here, I'm surprised to see a couple of them leaving so soon. So the Horns of Ashut, I'm really surprised that they're going. Though they might not be popular. Are people buying them? I don't know. I don't have access to that data, but you know, if they're not, they're shelf warmers. Get rid of them. Get rid of the product line. So yeah, I don't mind. I am not bothered at all about the removal of product from a product line. They're introducing new product, introducing new games types. They carry on supporting this game. They're iterating the rule sets of Age of Sigmar and Warcry 40k continually. I think this is just nature. This is par for the course. It's capitalism, and the community is in uproar over nothing. I can see how it's disappointing if you are a tournament player and you've got a large collection of some of these miniatures that you can no longer play in a tournament, but, well, you've invested in that. You will have seen it coming sooner or later. It's not like this is a new business practice for them. We've seen it in their other ranges. We've just seen it in 40k. So it is what it is. It's just a little bit of controversy, and it seems quite clickbaity. But then again, I'm making this video, but I'm not too bothered about whether it gets watched or not. I just wanted to throw my opinion out there and perhaps come at it from a little bit of a different angle rather than the the sensationalist Games Workshop is super evil, where Games Workshop is not super evil. Games Workshop is a business. With that said, if you've enjoyed this style of content, I know it's a little bit different from me. I'm going to do some more of it, talking about various bits and pieces. Maybe not about Games Workshop in general, but just the hobby space, new products, me getting excited about things to camera like this. I can put them out a little bit faster, so perhaps I could get back to doing a weekly video and having things like this, as well as the tutorials and the hangout and hobbies. I'm really excited by it all, so yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you found this channel and you're new to it and you're not, please do subscribe. It helps me grow. It helps me kind of figure out if I want to carry on making content. Hopefully you like it and you interact with it, and I will carry on doing so. I love this hobby. I love this community, so this is what I kind of want to do for fun, and that's it. It's fun. All of this should be fun, because at the end of the day, we're playing with little toy soldiers, and a lot of us are grown adults. So, you know, deal with it, guys. Come on, figure it out. All right, I'm going to leave it there for this one, and I'll look forward to hearing what you got to say down below, and no doubt I'll get flamed, but it is what it is. Opinions, people have them.